Hello everyone, Marco here. Today we're going to do a brand new video and we're going to talk about gender issues, which we haven't touched in quite a long time, either in my writing or in my videos, because honestly there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about since the last summer with the Million March for Children. I wrote a little bit before that and a little bit after. So it's been almost a year since we touched this issue. But there's reason to talk about it today, and that's because yesterday the PEI parents group put out seems like a news release, basically saying that they started this new website and they're going to be doing some advocacy in for parents, basically about the school curriculum in regards to gender ideology and the options that parents have in and taking their kids out of it, and the gender identity guidelines and other things. So I think that's worth talking about it. I doubt the CBC is going to do anything on it. So this might be one of the only few ways, this video here, that people will have a chance to learn about it. So the website is www.peiparents.com. It's a nice website. There's some information here in these pinned posts that's quite valuable. I would honestly take a few minutes to read what's up with this new curriculum. There's a lot of stuff in here that I didn't know was happening in schools. That's, again, quite shocking. But, I'm less shocked because, what's going on in schools with regards to this woke agenda that's penetrating, it's like an onion. The more you peel, the more rot you find. So I am shocked that it got to a point where it's this bad, but at this point, the level of depravity of these people knows no bounds, and which is why it's so necessary for a group like this to exist that kind of exposes it and that gives parents some real information about what's going on. I mean, it can't be understated how critical this is. So I really want to congratulate whoever's behind this site. I think they're doing great work and a great service for PEI. What did I also want to talk about? Resources right here. I wanted to take a few minutes about this resource that they put out there about contacting your MLA. And honestly, up until a few months ago, I would have said that this is a waste of your time. But the most likely thing that happens is that if you send a letter to your premier or to your MLA, that they're just going to disregard and not take it into consideration. But that all changed because I watched a segment of the legislature debate around allowing Sunday hunting that passed just in the last sitting, just in the dying embers of the last sitting. And I was honestly shocked that every MLA, it seems, on every party, anytime they receive a letter about a particular bill from a constituent that expresses their opinion, they literally put it in a column, support or doesn't support, and it seems to make a big influence for them. It might even be one of the primary influences that determines whether a bill passes or not, which to me is kind of shocking because you take a bill like Sunday hunting. The only thing that I'm going to ask myself is, does this bill enhance the liberty of the individual, or does it subtract from it? Now, allowing Sunday hunting, like if you ban hunting on Sunday, that to me is denying the liberty of an individual, which is egregious. So of course I'm going to support banning such I'm not going to support such a ban. And that's the only thing that matters to me. I don't care how many people are in support for it or against it. I don't accept limitations of people's basic human rights. But that's not how politicians work, right? It makes sense. What's a politician's primary concern? It's getting reelected, right? So public opinion either makes them or crushes them. So that's why they really when it comes up to a bill, they're counting up all the responses they're getting. It was kind of neat. I think I'm going to cut and paste that whole segment and post it below so that you guys can watch it. And I was honestly shocked. So if you're against what's happening in schools, if you're concerned about gender ideology and keeping your child away from any nefarious activities that are going on in school, and you're concerned with everything that's been happening, taking a few moments to write a letter to either Dennis King or the Minister of Education here, I think is well worth your time. to make the letter even more effective, here are some of the things I would include in it personally. Personally, I would make it very clear to the Premier that this is now an election issue for you. During the last election, it wasn't even in debates. If I recall correctly, I was skimming through the debates, trying to cut out a lot of the fluff, so I might have missed it. But I don't think a single question got asked about the gender guidelines, and the media didn't cover it at all around the election. So, the Premier got away with something terribly egregious there. And just let him know that that is not going to be happening again. The next election, you want him to take a stance on this. He's got to be very clear. Is he going forward with pushing the woke agenda, or are we going to start to unravel some of it? And he better be on the right side of it, because if he's not, he cannot expect your vote. And in fact, you're even willing to look at the liberals, because, what are you getting from Dennis King on this issue? This is, as much as it's weird for me to say, because since 2012, I've always written about economics. I've always, these culture things don't really interest me that much. But if I'm being honest, this is the most important issue, because it's literally about kids who are innocent, and it's literally about your future, right? Your future is all based on your kids and the next generation. And this whole woke agenda is about corrupting them, which honestly can't stand. It's by far, this is coming from me. I'm personally a fan of economics. I love discussing economics and studying this, but I have to admit, this is the most important issue, bar none. So it has to be an election issue the next go around. And the second thing is bringing up groups like PEI, Transgender Network, and Peers Alliance. Now, these groups, it's very clear between the feds and the province are receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars. I truly believe they make PEI a worse off place. So you want to make it, you want to pretty much tell the Premier that, hey, he's got to start cutting the funding on this, and that's what you expect. Let's go over some of the screenshots here that I have showing you what I mean. First of all, let's start off with this one. So this is a call to action right before the Million March for Children and PEI, which apparently some reporters referred it to the single biggest act of violence that he had ever seen at a protest. And why did that happen? That happened because groups like the PEI's Transgender Network encouraged their supporters to bring flags and signs to block their bigotry. So they got in people's faces, they started calling them bigots, they started trying to intimidate them like they always do. That's the only weapon they have, is intimidation and yelling at you. And bring megaphones to drown out their music and everything. So basically, this is like a call to harass people. And then they were shocked that all of a sudden, violence broke out. Well, anybody could have figured out that it was going to break out if you asked. People are not just going to sit there and take your harassment. Okay, so these people are actively promoting violence, and yet they receive public funding. Okay, let's take a look at another screenshot here. This is a screenshot from Lucky Fuska, the executive director of the PEI Transgender Network, and here we have it. This is right after the Million March for Children. Transphobia is white supremacy. So again, saying that if you disagree with her, even though race is not an issue for you, and this is not about race, it's about gender ideology, which has nothing to do with race. Apparently, since racist is one of the worst things you can be called in our society, that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to say, oh, you're a racist if you disagree with me. So she doesn't have to debate the issue, which is very convenient for her. But if you're accusing people of just being racist and you don't have facts to back it up, no offense, but you're the racist one at that point, okay? And so why is this person receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars in public financing? I have no idea. Let's look at another one here. I didn't vote for genocide, Justin. There's no way I will ever be going forward. Calling a white person racist is like calling the sky blue. Interesting. Yeah, okay, so again, calling white people racist. I have screenshots after screenshots of Lucky saying things like this. I could understand it if it was only once or twice, because anybody can, get upset and say the wrong thing. But this is over many months, just continuously saying stuff like this. Now, the Prince Edward Island government has established an anti-racism office. They have 3 people working on it full time. They're going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars trying to combat racism on PEI. And at the same time, they're giving money to racists like Lucky here. So I would think it's well worth your time to make it clear to Dennis King that this is unacceptable, that you want these groups defunded, because at the end of the day, these people are very harmful to Prince Edward Island. If they had it their way, anybody that would disagree with them will be put in jail. And so we can't allow these people to keep going as they are. Their funding has to be cut, and Prince Edward Island will be a far better place once they are removed. And I think that's going to be pretty clear based on the screenshots that I provided. So anyway, that's kind of my ideas, what I had. I think it's well worth your time to send a letter over here. Keep these little tips in mind. Keep it simple. Stay respectful. Use solid arguments. But overall, I'm excited about what this group has done, and I look forward to see what they do in the future. I think it's all very good news. But anyway, that's all the time we have for now for this, and I'll catch you guys all on the next video. Bye for now.